Company SambaNova launched its AI platform in Amazon Web Services marketplace last month, allowing companies to buy and deploy its services alongside their existing infrastructure. The firm is refocusing on being an AI cloud services provider, laying off around 15% of its workforce in the month of April. So let's discuss this and the broader outlook for the sector with Rodrigo Liang, CEO of SambaNova. Rodrigo, great to have you on the show. Good morning.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
I would like to pick up exactly on what I was just mentioning there. Can you just tell us what are you seeing in terms of client activity at this stage? What is the appetite like?
You know, what's really exciting, what you're seeing with AI going into inferencing, efficiency is now at the center of all the conversations for AI. And so, companies are trying to figure out how to scale. And if you aren't scaling your AI story with some intention, you run into scaling problems down the line.
More broadly, though, I would like to also get your thoughts on the conversations between the US and China. There's room here, we don't know the detail, but there's an expectation that there will be a relaxation in terms of chip exports from the US to China. I just would like to understand how that is impacting the sector. How are you viewing these conversations?
Well, AI is a global everybody challenge.
You are
right?
a global company.
Right, everybody needs it. And so I think you're finding that it's going to transform every business in every part of this planet. And so I think today there's all the geopolitical issues that are being discussed and trying to figure out where can we deploy AI from the US into China, et cetera. And so we're always, as a US company, very closely watching kind of what we can do. But we look forward to being able to be part of solving these problems, which every company in the world is going to run into for the next many, many years to come.
How are you finding navigating this environment?
Well, I mean, it's there's a lot of dynamic changes in the world. Certainly in relation to China, and a couple of weeks ago in the Middle East, a lot of exciting things are happening, and so I think it's a very dynamic environment. But look, it's also exciting, right? The world's waking up to the fact that this technology is here, is here to stay. You need to start making plans of how to transition your business towards an AI first type of business, and so and we're here to help companies make that transition as they try to figure out how they're going to adjust and keep up with all the changes that happen every single day.
And speaking of some of the momentum, we're following NVIDIA CEO across the European continent this week. My colleague Arjun seems to be doing that very actively. And I'm just trying to understand how that perhaps is also something that you are experiencing, perhaps in a different scale. But there's a lot of interest in Europe to get more AI infrastructure, to get data centers, all of it, right? What are you finding when you come to Europe at this stage?
Well, I think, like we started the conversation, AI is something that everyone's thinking about, and access to that technology is going to be one of the main issues, and at the center of it is all about energy. And so how do we make it sustainable? How do we find the right sources of energy? And the UK made some great announcements this week around investing in sovereign infrastructure. And so it's going to be about how do we actually make sure that we have enough capacity, enough energy, and do it sustainably so that you can actually have that compute infrastructure in the country.
But can Europe offer you that? Energy is such a problem on this continent.
Well, this is the exciting thing about SambaNova. Because we focus on an energy-efficient technology, we're able to actually deploy in the existing data centers in Europe in very power and energy-constrained environments. And so we look at Europe as a very good opportunity for SambaNova because we have the most efficient AI computing infrastructure in the world. And so we're able to actually leverage that and deploy it into these very energy-constrained, very energy-sensitive environments and still build out state-of-the-art AI.
I would also like to take a moment to address some of the dynamics in the AI story so far this year, because we started with DeepSeek. That seemed to have been a revolutionary moment for the industry. But that somehow seems to have been now put in second place. Just give us color in terms of what is the dynamic right now when it comes to AI.
Well, I think what enterprises ultimately want is they want to try to bring these AI technologies into running their business. And so what do enterprises care about? They care about their data. They care about making sure that data is private and secure. And so being able to deploy these technologies in a way that enterprises can use it and use it efficiently, use it in the places where they need it, where the data is secure, is really, really important. And that's why we've been focusing on making sure that we can bring that type of technology in a very energy efficient environment, because that's usually where the data sits, usually in very tightly constrained environments.
Rodrigo,